everything. It's cute. All right, we're gonna get rocking and rolling. Make sure you ask questions, ask for us to clarify certain things, because we're gonna talk about two things that are really important right now. We've had Christy on quite a few times. She's a great friend of ours, and she's an inspiration, which is really nice as we talk to so many people with Momentum Builder and Sales Mastery in our events. It's nice to have people that inspire you that are real. It's not fake. It's Christy is Christy, which is a beautiful thing. And we've had a tough 3 years. Give me a thumbs up if you agree. It's been a challenging 3 years. It is what it is. I've been in this for 4 years, so this is not my first rodeo. This is probably my fourth or fifth cycle that we have to go through. And we're going to talk about how we get through this. There's very few people that go through as many challenges as Christy. And you'll watch, she'll smile and she still perseveres and she crushes it. I mean, she does consistent business that we all would like to do, but she does it with a smile and she does it very simply, which is really cool. A lot of people are looking right now for the silver bullet, the magic answer, the social media that's going to help them through it all. And then you talk to Chris, she goes, "This is what I do Monday through Thursday that makes me rock." And it's consistent. And the good news, I'm going to give you two good news. So I want you guys to give me a heart or a thumbs up if you agree. One of them is I think we're really close to the other side of this tough cycle. I really do. And like I said, I've seen them a lot. We keep getting headwinds here and there, but we're really close. We've lost about 2/3 of our competition. More thumbs up. So when it picks up, we get more of that business. And I'll tell you, out of the third that are left, I'd say only 25% of them are really working right now.
Agree.
Because it's tough right now to go out there. And it's going back to kind of, Chrissy and I already kind of spearheaded this. We're going back to old school, which is really nice. Everybody's looking at, oh, let's do social media. Let's get out in front of it's back to old school for our customers and our real estate agent. It's called building relationships. It's really about that. And that's what everybody on this call, and that's what we're masters of, is building relationships. So we're going to talk to Christy about how she does that because with Chrissy's challenges, and I know she'll open up about those. She knows that she has to build good relationships, has to, because she didn't have the advantages that some of us do with go out and persevere in the field. Chrissy has to be very selective with her time, energy, and relationships. So, Chrissy, I'd love to jump in if you want to give any kind of history, a little storyline, just to kind of frame it so they know more about Christy and where you come from and your experience and how long you've been in the business and what maybe some of those challenges are. And then we'll go into how you persevere those and how many loans you close on a regular basis so that people go, wow, okay, I'm going to listen. Because I know I do. I take notes. I have my pen and paper. Hopefully you guys are ready to take notes. I'm ready.
Mine too. So it is such a blessing to be with you guys today. I was telling Don before we got on the call, Don and I, we don't plan, we just roll, right? We just natural. If you have any questions, drop it in the chat. We'll grab that. This is about life, not just a career, right? So just to give you a little backstory, I was a bank lender, like cattle loans. We loan money for people to buy cows. That was a true story. Car loans, all of those at a little bank called the Bank of Greensburg. In 2011, that bank was closing, and somebody said you would be good at mortgages. And I didn't even know how to spell FHA. So I got in the business in 2011. My very first year in the business, I did 170 something units, 78, which that was all purchases. I did not know what I was doing, but I knew that this was my purpose. My highest units have been 547 personal production. Go into last year was the lowest year of my career, closed right under 160 units. And let me just tell you about this last year. So
Yeah.
I wrote down a quote that I want to read, and I don't even know where it came from. I had put it on Facebook years ago, and I found it last night, and it says this: It's not in our mistakes and failures where we figure out who we are, it is how we recover from them that matters. So I'll be real honest. I got in the business in 2011, had some health issues, never knew exactly what it was. I have had 6 strokes in a 20-year period, three major, three minor. 2022, I had a stroke when I was driving back from an event in the car, ended up wrecking the car. Thank God it was just me involved. I have not driven a vehicle since 2022. Some of my real estate agents on here actually pick me up and take me places. My husband is
Says
my
no one.
and then at the end of 2023, I woke up one day and I couldn't get up. I thought maybe I had the flu or COVID or something like that. And they thought that I had something called multiple myeloma cancer, which is a terminal cancer. So I had 3 or 4 months where I couldn't get out of the bed. Real estate agents came to my home. I have a team, my daughter, my best friend, and my niece. They handle the files that I bring in. And it was a moment for me. I've only been on the upswing of mortgages. Even though things happen in personal life, professionally, I'd never been in a down market. So then, thankfully, and I don't know if I say thankfully, but cancer, you don't want. So in March of last year, I was diagnosed with something called lupus. A lot of people don't know about lupus, but it's where your body, your good cells and bad cells, don't know the difference. So your body attacks itself. So it has affected my heart. It can affect my kidneys, which they're watching. I lost a lot of eyesight in my left eye. So to me, the last 18 months have been the darkest 18 months of my life because I had to figure out how to navigate, right? Down professionally. And even though 150 or 60 units feels like a lot to a lot of people, it's all about perspective, right? Comparison is of the devil. I always say that. That's not a church sermon. That's the truth. I don't compare myself with anyone else. I compare myself with what I did year before. And I knew that I could do more, but I was limited. And then I also, on December 22nd, I lost my precious father. And on April 7th of this year, I lost my mother. So, it just goes to say, listen, everybody on this call has a story to tell. It's not about, well, I've had this or I've had that. Everybody's got something. Everybody you walk by, your clients, your realtor partners. But at the end of the day, and I wrote down a couple things I want to share, there's purpose in the pain, and we can choose to sit in what happened to us, or we can learn that there are some beautiful lessons in that, and it's only preparing us for what our greater purpose is. And look, there are dark days, there have been dark days for me, but I do remind myself that there have been beautiful lessons in everything I've gone through. And I think the trick for me, Don, is I don't sit in the pain. I realize there's a purpose for it. There's a lesson in it, and I find it. And no, I'm not perfect. And no, there's days that are hard. But Sunday, some of the ones on this call, we rented a party bus and we did the tour of homes in
I
Baton
saw that. I'm
Rouge,
like, woohoo,
right?
look
So
at you.
like fun and relationships are how it is. I say all that to say, if you're making excuses and poor, pitiful me, you can't control the market. You can control your relationships, but most of all, if you don't control your mind and your heart, nothing's going to be right, right? Things are going to happen. I didn't want to stop driving in 2022. I didn't want to be diagnosed with a disease that literally takes me down sometimes 5 or 6 days a week. But guess what? I still got this and I still got this. And as long as I can communicate, I can do mortgages. So don't worry about, well, I don't have marketing money and all this. You have a mouth, you have feet, you have hands, you have a heart, you can still communicate. So that's kind of a long story short, right?
I, I love it. And the reason that I know love you, like, all right, I want to get some strategies from this, but we
Sure.
want to talk about that there's challenge. One sec. Believe it or not, I'm in my hotel room. I gotta go. Hold on one. It's funny, they're trying to get into my room.
Oh, no, you're good. You're
Yeah.
good. And look,
So sorry about that. They're like knocking, trying to get in. I'm like, no, I'm still here.
you're good.
Anyways, so we will share how Christy does this because
Yes.
I know some of you, know the story or like, oh, I'm uh
Don, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm accidentally muted because they're still knocking. He evidently can't hear me. So, anyways, we're gonna go talk about what Christy does daily because what's really cool is you're gonna love how she breaks up her day. It's super simple. The lovely thing about Christy and why I love bringing her on this is, hold on, they will not give up.
You're good. And look, while Don is stepping away to deal with the hotel staff, let me just say this. You can have all the technology, you can have all the systems, you can have all the bright and shiny things, but if you don't know how you're going to roll on a daily basis, how you're going to communicate, look, social media, apps, all of that are never going to take the place of you and your systems. And when I say systems, I'm talking about your keys to communication, how you communicate with agents. Don, I just kind of went on and rolled that apps and all of that. They're great, but those never take the place of actually doing the work. And if you don't have a system of who you're going to call when, what you're going to do, you could spend thousands of dollars on all of these things. These things are not going to do the business. Again, it has to be you. So that's what, Don, I'll let you take back over.
No problem. I mean, we'll go into your steps because, like I said,
Yeah.
we have a team. We're in the
Yes.
grind. Just so you know, we are. This is not. We don't just go on and speaking tours and this and that. We're actually in the grind. We have really good loan officers that are. A lot of them are on this call. Thank you for being on the call, my
Yes.
team.
Thank you all.
Um, and we're working all the time to improve and get better. And we're actually getting more laser focused. I call it Navy
Yep.
SEALs. We're actually like
Yes.
eliminating team members that are not engaged and not putting the effort in because it's just a distraction. We don't want distractions and we don't have time for it. This is a tough business. So we're going to lean in
Yes.
and we're going to take advantage. I believe this is a great time to take advantage because a lot of our industry is kind of waiting. I hear it all the time. I'm waiting for a normal market. Well,
Yep.
what is a normal market? And we'll not go back to the way it was. It is
No.
shifted and we have to shift with it and take advantage of whatever we can, which is building relationships.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you do it very simply. Like I said, a lot of people got into, oh, I got this social media thing, I do this and that. Yes. Do you have to get out there and learn? Are you gonna have to learn AI now? Of course you are. But
Yes.
if you when Christy goes through her system, you go, I can do that. And it's simple. It's what we used to do. Like I used to do when I originated is build relationships and communicate.
Yep.
So why don't you
Yep.
go through and
Sure.
especially those of you on the call and more coming in, which I love,
Sure.
go through it and you guys should take notes. And we're going
Got
to
it.
share this with you. What's really cool is we've gotten really good. And thank you, Sonia, who's on this call. She does a great job, by the way, Chris. We break it down now and we send it to everybody with the bullet points from the call through our
Perfect.
AI, and it breaks it all out and everything for you.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
take notes because Christy's system, if you do it, there's no way you can fail. Seriously. I mean, she's like, oh, I only did 160 loans. Well, I'm sorry, and that's a good, that's you're doing double digits almost every single month. Give me a thumbs up if you want to do double digit loans every single month. And if it's not 34 thumbs up, I'd be shocked. There we go. See? Look at that. Right? So
So
once you go
just
through your process.
Yeah, so just to kind of give you perspective on how many people we communicate with, and when I say me, my amazing daughter Claire is my assistant that helps me up front with all the leads. 85% of our buyers apply through our app. However, we speak with 100% of them up front normally. So what we do is first of all, let me go through this and then I'll go through my day to day. Our agent and a lot of our agent partners are on here. And what we do is we have text chains. We're very organized in how we communicate because organization is the key to all of this. Claire just gave a thumbs up because she organizes everything and helps me. But let me say this, don't give the excuse of, well, I don't have a team, because in 2011 and 12, I didn't have assistant. When I did 178 loans and then 210 the year after that, I disclosed every loan. I collected all the conditions. I did everything. So don't, but remember, when you make excuses, you're not hurting anyone else, you're only hurting yourself. So listen, learn what you could do. And just to give you perspective, this year I pulled this right before we get on the call. We have pulled 166 credit bureaus year to date. Last year I pulled 648 credit bureaus. We are in Louisiana, a lower income area, lower property values. I'm like 80, probably 85% Govy. Average credit scores lower. We do a lot of government programs, USDA, all of those things. And even in the year I did 547 transactions, I couldn't focus on refinance because we were doing purchases. So I only did 2% purchase refis, just to give you an idea. So my numbers, I'm a purchase girl, I'm realtor facing. We'll go over realtor relations in a moment because I think that is key. I think your real estate partners can be your biggest cheerleader. They can be your biggest advocate, and they can also bring you a lot of joy and fun, right? We don't have to be always professional and transactional. Being open and honest and down to earth with our partners, they come into my home, having them as friends has been my greatest asset, right? They always had my back. So let me tell you about my days. Now, again, now I do have Claire, Bailey, and Hannah. So Claire does help me a lot with these follow-ups. I'm not going to say I do it all 100% on my own because surely pulling 166 credit bureaus, and there's probably 30 that I missed because this report is through last week, the end of the week. So you can think almost 200 people have applied with us. So imagine how many people we have spoken to, but it's all personal, okay? So let me give you a quick breakdown, and Don and Sonia will send this out. We shared this last year at their event in Vegas, but really simple, okay? I always struggled with, I got to call everybody. How do I do it? Let me tell you how to do it. And you can start this today, okay? And I made notes because sometimes I'm getting older, my little brain gets off here. But so on Mondays, okay, Mondays are always heck in our business. Everybody's following up. I mean, I looked the other day, I had to scroll like 3 times through my text messages to see all the people that text me that day. So Mondays, I follow up with anyone from Thursday to Sunday that has asked about writing an offer, that an agent has told me that they were going to look at houses that weekend, and I've gotten insurance quotes and all that. We do a lot of upfront because, as you know, with Govy, DTI is very important. So we're not only talking to people, we're getting insurance quotes up front to make sure their DTI works. But Monday is follow up from anyone who is looking or who wrote a contract Thursday through Sunday. I'm not cold calling agents on Monday because nobody has time for that. And actually, I'm never cold calling agents, and I'll tell you how I do that. Okay. On Tuesday,
Real
we are
quick on
calling.
Monday, I want to hit up real quick before we move
Yep.
on. So I'm going to ask the group here because, like you said, it sounds simple, but I would like thumbs up if you are actually checking with your list of agents up front to see if they have clients that are wanting to go out or are looking at homes and so forth. Because I bet you a lot of our sales teams are not actually checking whether, hey, do you have anybody that's hot? Do you have anybody looking at properties? Hey, I'm available to help you out with their pre-approval or their offer to help you get the offer accepted with a listing agent because I might know the listing agent to help get your offer accepted. Do you communicate ahead of the weekend to let them know that you're prepared and your clients are prepared? I bet you most
And I
just,
have a plan for that too on Friday, but
oh,
you can
okay, I'll let you go.
just let, I
There's
have a
the
plan
answer.
for that. We just kind of changed our plan on that and started a new system last Friday. And when I say system, I mean us texting. We do a lot, our agents enjoy text. I think it's good for them to be able to keep it up. But these calls I'm talking about can be a combination of text. If it's an agent like Constance or Sharice on here that I know very well, will text. If it's an agent that I don't know, I'm picking up the phone. Stop letting your AI or your systems just communicate. Be very intentional about who you're going to communicate with. So on Mondays, I'm following up with anybody from Thursday to Sunday that text, called, or emailed or whatever about a contract. okay? But also I'm telling my agents, keep in mind, we'll talk about that, how to communicate with me. When we meet a new agent, we put them in a group text with Claire and I and say, hey, here's what we do. If you have a lead, drop it here. If you want us to call you, drop it here. We tell them, if you don't tell people how to communicate with you, they're not going to know. My voicemail tells you when you call me that I'm only returning voicemail messages that are left and what time I'm going to call you back. And if you need immediate urgent assistance, to text me. So I am always setting up, because I think one thing that's really important is we want to be in control of that. Our agents are busy. They may forget. Our leads are making them money and us money. So we're always going to know who should be looking for houses. If they're not, we're going to communicate with our agents why. But let's roll on to Tuesday. Tuesday is powerful. Tuesday, I call it your captive audience. Okay. So if you have one contract that's working, like visible, like a viable purchase agreement, so you've disclosed that loan, it's in the works. So Tuesdays are everybody that is in your pipeline that has a contract. You're going to call them, make sure they're okay, tell them where you are. Yes, I know they're getting the text updates, but that is the time where with clients you can say, hey, if you have friends or family, I need to help, you need my help, let me know. Also, if you know that everything's good, just say, hey, just call and let you know we're still in underwriting. Everything looks great. Did you have any questions for me or any needs? Also, let me tell you how, if you only have one contract, how you have 4 people to call on Tuesday. Are you ready for this? So you're going to call the buyer, right? You're going to call the listing agent. Let me just tell you, and agents, I can get an amen for the agents on here. Agents want to talk to you when you're in contract, right? They want to talk to you. If you are cold calling agents, I don't do that. I get myself in a room. I get myself to an event where there's people that I know I want to see and I'm building connections. I don't ever pick up the phone and just call somebody that I've never met out of the blue, because everybody does that to me, all of these companies and all that, and I don't answer. Okay. So I am purposely communicating. So I'm calling the buyer. I'm calling the buyer's agent. And if it's one of my friends, I'm like, hey, girl, everything's going good. Or, I'm purposeful. Then I'm calling the listing agent. Lenders, listing agents will answer your call when you are controlling the funds for a transaction. True story. If you are not capitalizing on speaking with the listing agent, you are wrong. And are there times over the last year that I have not capitalized on that? Absolutely. Do I do this all 100% of the time? No, sometimes I have to rein myself back in, right? Anybody that says they do something every day perfectly is not the truth. But I will say this, I give myself permission, because I can't have changed it, but I know I need to restart it, right? So if miss your calls on Tuesday and Wednesday, and I time block on Sunday nights, I look and kind of see when I'm going to do things, but my phone will ring 40 times a day. So I may change the time. I'm not saying I do it the same time every week. You know that when our business, that's not necessarily realistic,
No,
right?
our business is
I'm
dynamic,
not I'm not going to
very
say
dynamic.
every day from 8 to 10 I'm going to call. That's not going to happen. But as long as I get it done, that's what matters. So I'm calling the buyer, I'm calling the buyer's agent, I'm calling the listing agent. Actually, you have 5. I'm calling the title company. Did you know title companies can be a very big resource for you? Now, Claire and I and my team talked this morning about we need to get better at doing that and following back up with them, because when you get really busy, some things go by the wayside. Again, I am me, I'm honest. There's things that I'm saying that I'm like, hey, we got to get better at that. And we did it for a while, but this is what I've always done and it works. Then also, if you only have one deal, somebody is getting their insurance for that property, call that insurance agent. Say, hey, we have a client, a current, family that we're serving, the Parkers. I see you're doing insurance for them. Listen, I love to serve families. Is there anything that I could do to help you? And if you ever have any mortgage questions, listen, do not be afraid to market to the people within your transaction. but you're not marketing like I'm selling you something, right? You're talking like friends. I think that's where we mess up. We want to send blast emails, which I'm not against that, but remember, everybody else is doing that. You got to find the things that make you different. All of these people on here that are my real estate partners have been to my home. Like that makes me different, right? So I think those things are important on Wednesday, and I'm gonna roll through this. Wednesday is past clients. And look, past clients we struggle with. Everybody does because, you have all these new things and you're like, wait, I need to follow up. So, of course, emails and all that are great. But let me tell you, if you struggle with past clients, get yourself your birthday list, break it up in the month. If you have X amount of past clients, figure out who you're going to call on the Wednesdays and just call them. As you don't have to be their birthday. Say, hey, I see it's your birthday month. I'm sorry I haven't called you in a while. You know how life does, but I just want to check on you and your family. I found that if I didn't have a reason to call, I was more nervous about calling, right? Because I'm thinking, I don't want to call Don. I closed his loan 2 years ago. And honestly, some of you are sitting here and hadn't talked to past clients in 2 years, sometimes me as well, right? But if you say, hey, it's Don's birthday month, like, Don, hey, do you remember me? I am so sorry I've not checked in with you. That is a powerful way to get yourself into the habit of having an excuse to call. And that's easier than just cold calling, trying to sell somebody something. Thursdays, I love. Oh,
Real
wait,
quick
Don.
on that,
Yeah.
because my team knows, because I preach this a lot. One of my number one things that I've been very good at that's kept me in touch with my clients is birthday calls, because
Yes.
nobody gets upset with a birthday call ever.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
call because most get a Facebook post
Right. I
or
know.
possibly a text. Worst case, I'll at least text them, but it keeps me in communication. And it's funny, I've even had clients when I call and they're like, what are you calling for, Don? I'm like, I just calling for your birthday week or weekend or whatever. It
A
doesn't have to
month.
be on their
Yeah.
day because sometimes, like you said, maybe you got busy that day. Every time they're like, well, thanks for reaching out. I was just thinking about you. No, they weren't. Most cases.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
because I'm now on top of their mind, I'm like, great. Hopefully you have. And I do this. Hopefully you know of a coworker, and you break it up. Don't say anyone. Don't ever say, hey, if you know of anyone that could use
Yes.
my asset, their mind goes, anyone. I got to think of everybody I know. No. If you happen to have a family member, a friend, or maybe a coworker and use my assistant, I'd love to help them out. So make sure that they get great advice and great service that you can trust, like I've done for you. And just wanted to call and say hi and happy birthday and hope you have a great week. And a lot of times they're like, my mom didn't even call me. You know,
Right, right. Listen, your connection with these people, you don't want to just do one transaction. You want to be involved in everything that they do for mortgages going forward,
and
right?
their family.
We're, and their family, right? Like if we see somebody where their daughter won a cheer competition, we're going to text them. I have a friend agent whose daughter was in an accident. I checked on her. Like, this is real life. If you want people to refer you and love you and not just treat you like every other lender, you've got to build those authentic connections, right? So Thursday is where your money is. Thursday is where everyone that is pre-approved is getting a call so that you can follow up and see. And if they don't answer, text or voicemail, follow up and say, hey, just wanted to see if you were out looking for properties this weekend. I'm going to be available if you need anything. If you're not following up with the people who you've already pre-approved and made the connection with, let me just tell you, I know in your mind you think, well, I pre-approved them, they'll get back with me. If you wait a while, they're going to forget you. So we follow up, and what we do, and I say we because Claire has been helping me with this with everything going on in my life. But what we do is we call them. Now, if they say, "Hey, I'm out of town for a couple weeks," then we put on our notes to not call for a couple weeks. Or if they say, "Hey, I'm looking," we'll say, "Hey, we're going to check in with you next week," right? Or we'll shoot you a text. So we're constantly top of mind of them, right? And that is so important because a lot of times people are nervous about it. And the one thing we say is, hey, do you have any questions? Like if they say, well, I'm kind of holding up, well, why? What's going on? You also, it's very powerful because a lot of people don't think to tell you about job changes or marital changes. We're a community property state. We have found so much out about, hey, yeah, I just bought a car last weekend. Oh, hold up. If you're not communicating, think about if I look back at the last 18 months of my life, it has completely changed. I used to travel once and twice a month. I only traveled two places last year. That was the beach one time with my girlfriends for a weekend and to see Don in Vegas, which I stayed in the room most of the time. Life has looked different. Life changes for your buyers, it changes for your agents. You want to be there not just as this is who's doing my mortgage. This is who's in this with me. If life changes, they're going to be the first call I make so I can make sure that everything's still okay on the mortgage end, right? So that's really important. Fridays, Don, this is what you're waiting on. Let me say this. And we just started this new little process last Friday. Fridays I always kind of called Freedom Fridays because I had so much to follow up with. So we followed up with things that maybe people that needed a call and could talk on Friday. Like I kind of kept my Friday. I didn't schedule a lot of appointments, but let me tell you what we started doing. And I'm not going to read you one because it would take me forever to find it on my phone. But what we started doing is our agents, we realize that with the market being busier, although we're very good, we keep very good notes. They always know what's going on. They forget too, right? They forget. So on Fridays, we are texting them in a group with Claire and I. We're texting them anyone that they have currently approved and pre-approved, and we're asking if they're going to look for houses. Okay. We're texting them about anyone that is maybe credit repair. We help with that because of our market. So we text them, hey, this one is still working. We get permission. There's a detailed text. We say we're not giving out personal information. We're reminding them. Then we're texting them on any leads they sent that week. Even though we text and call them as soon as somebody applies for them, we're reminding them on Fridays, hey, just know that we're still waiting on documents on this, and this client. And I don't know if any of the agents on here, Constance, if you want to comment on how powerful that is, because they're human, they have families. Sometimes our agents don't have teams. And so they have a hard time, sometimes just life keeping up. So now, as of Friday, they got a text that gave them everything they had with us and all of the updates. Constance said that we remind her of clients to follow up with. Again, I'm not letting in again. Constance, I'm using Constance because I saw her name. There's probably some other of our agents on here, and our underwriter Amanda's on here. I'm not relying on them to control the transaction. They're controlling their part. I am relying on me to make sure that everybody wins, the client, the agents, and myself. So if I'm waiting on everybody else, nobody's winning, right? Excuse me, y'all. But if I am controlling it, like I'll say, like I had one agent the other day, and I said, hey, such and such just called me. She said that you referred her. She wants to get with her husband and I in a online. And she said, I forgot who that was. So I sent her the client's number because she had met her weeks ago in a store and just kind of forgot about it. So we are, because our days are, again, they're not planned out systematically. We have fires happen, we have things. I apologize, y'all. I don't control my health, and I apologize. This is joys of what I deal with. But I
All
might have
good.
to let Don talk and grab some water. But I will say this: you need to control your business. You need to know we keep lead sheets. We know that if somebody sends us someone and we're following up 3 times, then we're saying, hey, we never got them, but we're still keeping them on our lead sheet because we're still going to follow up, right? They might have been out of town. Like, don't just get a lead, call it, and then not keep up with it because you want to keep it up with it for your agents as well. Don, I'm going to grab some water while you talk. I can hear.
I
I
have, okay, I
apologize.
have a good, and that's great, Christy, great stuff. So I'm going to share with you. So, and we have agents on the call, which is really cool, is I'm going to give the agents actually a get out of jail free card because as lenders, sometimes we're like, why wouldn't they be able to keep up with their leads? Why wouldn't they be able to know to follow up with certain clients? So here's the thing you got to understand with a real estate agent and Sharice and Constance and whoever, let me
Yes.
know. eh, Because what happens is you guys are required to jump on any hot lead, and that hot lead can be a substantial commission. And therefore, other things can easily be put aside because like the client is like ready to list right now, ready to buy right now. You have to jump on it immediately, or you're going to lose that opportunity. Therefore, it may distract you from your past clients because you're handling the hot lead and you can't let it go. You can't. Well, I don't like,
Yeah.
well, you got to go after it. No, no, this client right now is hot to list because it's an emotional decision to buy and sell. I'm sorry, it is if they decide. So you have to be all over it to provide the value to the client and help them. And therefore, it may distract you from getting back to those other clients that could potentially be buyers down the line. And they don't know if they are or not. So they're on the hot lead. They have to, because that's a big commission check for them.
They have
Like
to.
us, where we handle, let's just say 2 to 20 transactions. If one
Yeah.
slips, you're still paying the bills. Where an agent's like, no, no, if this is going to potentially happen, I have to be all over it because I could be paying my mortgage this month. Us
Yes.
reminding them of these clients is doing them a favor because they don't want to lose them. They just have to take care of that hot prospect right now. I have to go to their house right now to give them their value, tell them what they need to do to prepare to buy, or I need to go show them homes right now because if I don't, somebody else will. So I'm giving you agents a reprieve because it's not your fault all the time. So lenders don't get mad at them or think they're not doing their job. It's a different job than ours. So we can help
Yes.
them. And I'm going to tell you right now, more than ever, and I love that you brought some of your agents on, and thank you for being on this call with the lovely Christy, is because now more than ever we need to work together. More than ever. Before it was
Amen. That's-
agents did this and they kind of abused their lender. They didn't need to let. Now we're competing against the Rockets and the Redfins and all these online marketing companies that have these huge budgets, so we need to work together more than ever to get our market share from them. And we do a better
Yes.
job because they are transactional. We are relational. So if we work together, we can obtain that market share that we all need. So we need to work together more than ever.
That
And
is
I
true. And
bet
Donna,
you
I
work
also
with.
want to, I'm sorry, I also want to say too before I forget. So when we talk about pre-approvals, right? We have people I can do a 5-minute pre-approval. My agents and referral partners know that does not work in my world. I control how we do it because I want to 99%, unless, it's the appraisal or the inspection, 100% of those loans are going to close if I say it's going to happen, unless they lose job or something like that. So we tell them, hey, this is what we do. If somebody applies today and gets us all the documents that we need today, we'll have an answer by tomorrow. When we send those texts, we're still waiting on documents. So our agents will help us remind them. Let me tell you why. This world of pre-qual, we'll let Rocket or all of those, not downing any company, but we'll let them do that. When somebody gets our pre-approval letter, let me tell you, this is a true story. And anybody in my market and my amazing underwriter Amanda, who I could not do life with, is on here. Anybody can tell you that if we say it's going to happen, we've already checked if it's a little sketchy, as I like to say. We've checked with Amanda. Poor Amanda gets so many scenarios from us. We're like, hey, can you look at this income before we okay the pre-approval? Why? Because I don't want my agent showing houses to somebody that can't buy. And also, I don't want to put my name in the market of giving you a pre-approval letter and it falls out. We actually win. And this is a true statement. I feel like you got to be humble, hungry, and smart, but you got to know your worth, right? And that's for everybody on here. Telling facts about yourself is not bragging. This is truth. And let me tell you, agents will accept my offer in multiple offers, sometimes over even offers that are more, because they know that, first of all, my team and I are going to communicate. And second of all, I've looked at everything I need to look at to know it's going to happen. Now, I can't control job if they lose their job. I can't control, and Amanda, we can laugh about this, but we had somebody that actually lost their job like a few days before closing. They got another job. We closed a couple weeks,
We did
but
recently
nobody
too.
was upset because we have communicated, right? If you are the type lender that is just picking up the phone during a problem, you got a problem, right? You
It's
need to,
reactionary.
if you are the type, I am always, we solve problems before we talk about problems, but also the agents trust us. The title companies that send us leads, the insurance companies that send us, and I say families to serve instead of leads, because that's what we're doing. If you put families first, you'll always be successful. The money will come when you put people first. And I'm talking about all of your referral partners. I can tell you that people trust us, and we will have, agents don't always choose. If you're getting mad that you see an agent close with somebody else, don't sweat that, right? You don't know what other lenders go through to get where they are, but also they can't choose. But let me tell you what my agents do know. Whether it is my transaction or not, whether it's a listing, I am going to help you. Over the last 2 weeks, we have helped 4 realtors on transactions that we were not involved with, just on rules. Amanda even helped one on a USDA. They didn't choose the lender, but this is who the client is using. We've helped listing agents before they go to list a property. We let them know, hey, this is where the insurance is going to be. We do the legwork. Why? Because if you are relationship built, you will always win. I told y'all, last 18 months have been the darkest time of my life. There are times I was not sure I was going to be here, and we still close that many transactions. Why? Because we're not transactional. We're relationship. People cared about me. They trusted me and my team, and they knew no matter what was going on in my life, we do not drop the ball, right? If I'm out, I got somebody in place that's going to handle that. Right now, while I'm on the call with you, everybody's getting auto text that I'm speaking from 1 to 2, and they need to call the office or text Claire, right? I'm always communicating on how, and I want to give a fun example real quick. Oh, Brittany's on here. Don, you got to see that
I
comment.
saw you get like a testimonial. How about that?
Oh my gosh. Brittany, I'm sharing this. Brittany and I met over a year ago. She was the buyer on one of my listing agents' deal. She didn't know that her lender had done some things that the deal wasn't going to close. The listing agent called me and I said, let me talk to her. I'm not going to try to steal her. I want to talk to her. She and I stayed in contact. And guess what, Brittany? I'm going to share this because I know your heart and I know you know this helps people. Brittany was buying a smaller property that was lower price. Brittany just closed on her dream home just a couple weeks ago. We worked on the things we needed to work out. Brittany, that gave me chills. Thank you. Brittany is also a real estate agent now. Let me tell you guys, if you care about the people, no matter if they're going to close now or 2 years from now, you will always win, right? And that is so powerful. And I know that we were talking about some other things. Oh, I want to give you an example of this perspective. Are you ready for this? Let's say had somebody share this with me years ago and I never forget it. He said that he had told someone, like in his office, asked someone to fax something for him. Well, he was mad. Y'all know that's back in the day, right? Now we do electronic, but I'm just using that example because you're going to get it. He told him to fax something for him. Okay. And he went back and looked later, and they faxed it without a cover sheet. And he was so like, why would they do that? He left it up to their perspective. So if I ask everybody to say, if you call a business and they say, hi, this is Christy Solar, leave me a message, I'll call you back. How long do you expect for them to wait to call you back? I can tell you, everybody on this call is going to have a different answer. Me, I want to call back in 30 minutes. Somebody else may say, well, they can call me back in a couple days. If you are leaving your communication time frame up to what people's perspective is, you could lose deals. You know how we as lenders want to always answer the phone? I set my voicemail message post every day and I change it if it's a different day like today. But I say, hi, this is Christy Solar with the Christy Solar team. Please listen carefully to the following message. I will be returning voicemail messages left today between 11 and 12, and again between 4 and 5. If this is urgent, you may text me back at this number. If this is after hours, You may text me back at this number. Please remember, only voicemail messages left will be returned. That way, if I just leave that message and I call them back at 10, they think I'm early. I have controlled it. I think because I call it controlled chaos, we know in mortgages and in real estate, things are going to happen out of our control. But because I control or try to control everything that I can, as far as communication, as far as timelines, as far as updates, if I control all of that, I never have anybody call me and say, when's that appraisal due? We've controlled that, right? My phone only rings when it's making me money. New leads, agents that need to ask questions. My phone's not ringing up with, hey, when did this file go to underwriting? I'm controlling all of that with my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday calls and updates. So if you control your business, you're going to have more leverage. You're going to have more leverage. Look, my team is better when we do 25 to 40 loans a month, right? We're not doing that right now. We're lucky. I mean, I'm just being honest. 15 to 18, I'm excited right now. But guess what? I've still pulled almost, like I said, 200 credits year to date. Those are all opportunities. Credit repair, let me tell you something. If you are just pulling credit and telling people no, you're missing so many opportunities. We call everybody that applies, even if they have a 400 and something score or an 800 score, they get a phone call from us. And look, and if we can do it with pulling, like I said, the year during COVID, I pulled over 2,000 credit bureaus. Last year was 648. If we can do that, because let me tell you, you never know when that family situation is going to change. And also, I think the illness and stuff gave me really big perspective. We can be on a high and think everything is going along great in life, and something can happen. This is life. It's not perfect, right? I wrote down this, realizing that every trial is actually preparing us for our greater purpose and giving us the tools we need to live out the plan that the Creator has for us, right? And I believe in God, so I say that God has for us. Let me tell you, that family's probably going through that same thing. They probably had things happen with their credit, and everybody else pulled their credit and told them no. You can be the one that guides them and leads them, and you will be the one that gets that relationship. And ultimately, because this is a business, ends up closing that transaction, right? So that's why I say you got to have a plan for your day and your week and your year and your life and your goal. I wrote down a goal the other day and I shared it with my best friend, and I think I might have shared it with my daughter. My daughter lives in Colorado and works remotely. We see each other on Zoom every day. But I'll say this, I made a goal to get with my doctors and get with my eye doctor and all that and try to drive again by maybe the beginning of 2026. Now, I have not driven a car since August of 2022, right? So that has given me a whole different perspective. I can't, my husband works, so I can't just, my kids moved off. I can't just go get in the car and go see somebody. Everything has to be intentional. Constance had an open house and she picked me up. Do not be afraid to ask your partners for help right? This is a team effort. We're not an island. It takes a village. And I have learned that better than anybody. I know that's long, but I wanted to share that because no matter where you are, there's light. If you are struggling financially, marriage wise, lots of things, I will just say this. We don't lose, we learn, right? There is purpose in the pain. You're going to be better for it. You're going to come out of it because that's what's happening to me.
I love it. I was just going to put in chat. You'll laugh, but so can't question your passion. I mean, it just exudes from you, which I know, some of your agents here, I bet you they know your passion. I know your clients must know your passion because you are. But one thing I also want to share when you guys are writing down some of the things that Christy does, what's really nice is doing things like saying, I will return calls between this and this time and this time. It allows you to also time block your days and have some control of your
Yes.
days. Because if you
Yes.
don't do that, then we get busy. we get distracted because you have to stay focused on, let's just say, making your calls to return, give everybody an update, making calls to escrow title and that. Well, if you don't control your day, you'll get interrupted and it won't get done. And you won't be consistent and you won't be really, that's cultivating new business. A lot of people think that, oh, I don't need to do that. But what Chrissy's doing is cultivating new business because I guarantee you, and I bet you your agents that are now working with you probably never got those calls from any other lender. Guarantee they're not getting weekly updates,
Well,
especially a
I think
listing
they
agent.
I think they get calls. I'm not going to say lenders aren't calling right now, but they're calling asking for business.
Yeah, yeah,
I
they're not giving
never
updates.
I never call and say, hey, send me a loan. I'm building a relationship, right? And if you put that ahead, and I know it sounds old school, but let me tell you, it has not changed since I got in the business in 2011. If you want to be successful, you got to be different. Todd Duncan said years ago that you got to find what everybody is not doing in your market and do it, right? In my market, I found that having parties at my house worked. And so I have usually 3 or 4 times a year, I have parties at my house and we'll have 150 people here during the day. And we just had one at no matter, my dad passed December 22nd. We do an after Christmas party. We still had it at the end of January because you know what? You have a purpose and you have a reason and you have to be consistent. The agents love that. And when they come to that party, they meet other people they hadn't met. This is during the day. I have 150 people at my house during the day. And again, if you say, well, I don't have a house to do that, find a park. It's free, right? You can grill. Like, do not stop putting your business in a box. It's not. This is not a career, it's a lifestyle. And if you live life with the clients and the agents that you serve, even in your darkest storms, no matter what that looks like for you, right? You can be successful. And remember, storms always pass. We have a lot of those in Louisiana. They always clear up, they always pass, right? They always pass. So just want to say, like that party bus Sunday, it was so good for my soul. We never talked about how do you send me a mortgage. I won't go into what all happened on the party bus, but it was a good time.
I
We
saw
had
pictures. It looked like a good
well,
time to
you
me.
saw
I'm
it.
like,
Like
that's the
I
way to
told him,
celebrate and have fun with your
I
partners
told
and
him
stuff. Like
all.
we
I
just
said,
threw a
well,
party at our office for our partners, and we had, we usually have between 100 and 200 people there.
yes,
Because we get to then hang with them, celebrate with them, get to know them. It's way better than the, hey, I'm just calling for business, you know.
it's awesome. And think about the things that this market has been hard for us. It's been hard for our realtor partners, but guess what? The economy has been hard on our buyers too, and the families we serve.
Yeah,
What we
affordability is tough.
what I want to add really quickly to Don that's so important is I meet them where they are, right? If they're an engineer and they want a really detailed explanation of all this, I meet them there. If they are a first time home buyer, I do it this way. I took the DISC class years ago and learned how to communicate and listen and and my team takes notes. Like if Clara Bailey answer the phone, they kind of read, okay, this is this kind of client. They're talking about rates. I don't give rates out over the phone. We explain why. We talk about all of that. I'm talking about shoppers. Like somebody says, I just want to know the rate. Well, let me tell you, I'd rather explain to you how the market works. I know other lenders will quote rates, but let me tell you why we don't just quote what the rate is and why it can be different. We educate. And if you stop being reactive and you lead with love and education, you're going to always win, right? Remember everything you've been through, everybody that you talk to has been through something different but similar, and the economy and whatever. This is not political, this is just factual, right? This has been a hard year for real estate the last couple years.
Indeed.
But again, stop being the mortgage professional and be the person. People want to deal with people that are authentic. I'm not saying you have to be like me and dress wild and rent party buses. That's my model. You don't have to do that, but find what works for you. But remember, personal connections bring a lot more than I'm the transaction. Here's the rate. This is the payment. Do you like it? Right? First time home, we had a not first time home, we had a deal last week. It wasn't our just long story short, our seller was selling. The buyer kind of at the end refused to close. But let me tell you this, That seller, she's buying still and finding another property. You know what she told me the other day? She said, Christy, if you had not taken the time to educate me up front, I would have not understood that all of this, like they sent an addendum at the last minute changing the loan type, and she did not sign it without calling me because I explained to her, because we were looking at different loan types. I was like, after you get in contract, this is how it works. If you're not educating your buyers and the families you serve and the agents, you're not serving them correctly. So and that's how I know that that buyer, when she buys, she's coming to me. I had one yesterday, a past client that's looking at buying a mobile home and putting on a piece of land from a dealer. We don't do that, but guess what I did? I looked at the loan estimate from the bank and saw that he was being charged a lot. I helped him with that. Did that make me money right then? No. But will it help me with referrals in the future and with that family's future? Absolutely, yes. So get intentional, don't be reactive. If there's a problem on a file, because that happens, don't call the agent or the buyer first. Sit back, get with your underwriters, get with your support team. If you are the solution driven
Have a
lender
solution.
instead of the reactive lender, 2 weeks ago, our one of our grant programs run out of money. We got a contract on a Thursday night, and Friday morning they texted me and said, "Oh my gosh, we're out of money." Guess what? I did not call everybody right then. There was nothing I could do about it. It was actually Friday afternoon. We waited on Monday. We looked at it, saw it, maybe the potential options would be, then let everybody know, right? Stop being reactive. You're not doing yourself any favors in the long run of business.
Beautiful, beautiful, and great messages, which we will share. We'll break these out for all of you and send them to you. And Christy, thank you again just for
Thank
being
you,
the
Don.
beautiful soul that you are and
Thank you.
giving very simple, systemized plan that can help any professional be more intentional, control their life, because that's the toughest part of our business sometimes is not having control, that balance. And you control as much as you are able to, especially with your condition and all your challenges and this and that. You figure out how to be as consistent as possible. It's good that you have
Yes.
Claire. Way to go, Claire, and helping out. And thank you for just being a great friend and very intentional. And really, you are who you are, and we love that about you. And that's what
Thank you,
I'm going to
Don.
close on that. Everybody just be who you are because you'll attract the clients that are attracted to you. And then there's not the fight and everything. So,
Find your people and
yes.
shout out to Bailey, Claire, and Hannah.
So
Thanks.
we want to a couple things. We have an upcoming fun session. Believe it or not, Christy, look at that. We're on our 100th episode coming up.
Cannot believe it.
How
That's
about that? And we've
amazing.
had
I love that.
amazing rock stars like Christy through the last few years and stuff. So we're gonna get a bunch of them on. You should be on this call too, Christy. We're bringing back a lot of our speakers and our coaches
Only
and
on
our
number one at
producers
the
and our
bottom.
friends. So it's gonna be a fun episode. We're gonna try to get as many on it as possible. So we'd love to have you on it. And then, of course, since you're here, and if you're wanting to just take your business to another level. This is not just a sales pitch. This is fact that we'd love you to join us in October in Dallas. Christy will be
Yes.
there. And
Yes.
Christy, bring your agents because it's a housing event and we have
Awesome.
like the number one real estate speaker that's going to be there. Can't give it away
Amazing.
yet, but the
Amazing.
number one real estate and the number one mortgage speaker is in Todd Duncan. These are the two best coaches in our industry that will be together, let alone, of course, you and us and some other great speakers. It's going to be life changing. It's going to be an experience. It's
Yes.
not just an event where you show up. The networking is going to be like no other. The fun is going to be like no other. And you're going to walk away with implementation playbooks. Nobody does that. Everybody, you take notes and then, like, what do I do with this? We're going to help you with that. We're not letting you go. Just like Christy doesn't let her agents on her own or her clients on her own. We're not going to do that for anybody that shows up at Sales Mastery. They're part of our community. We're going to give all our heart and our soul to it. And it's going to be an amazing event. You have a discount code. You better sign up soon though, because we start the journey now, which is really cool. Is we have these calls, and then every month we got Todd Duncan that comes on and gives a strategy call like this every month to build your
Wow.
momentum heading towards October. So by the time October, you're rocking and rolling and ready to really absorb as much info as possible to change your life. So please show up, bring the agents, bring your lenders, show up for this thing. It's going to be amazing. So thank you, Christy. You are a
Thanks,
godsend.
Don.
We love you.
Thank